Welcome everybody to another session. Today I felt inspired to do a recap of some of the things that I have created lately over the winter. So I have taken all the offerings that I have, the ones that I have created myself, the ones that I have co-created with my partner Samantha Christofferson, because we did created a lot of courses before I started Inside Timer, and those are video courses. But basically, I have taken everything that I have, co-created and created myself, and everything is in a brand new place, in a brand new platform. There is some stuff on Inside Timer. All the audio content is on Inside Timer, but all the video stuff is in that platform. And I have created a lot of resources and companion workbooks on all these different topics that I would like to talk about. But the idea behind this is to do a recap of what does it mean to create a thriving lifestyle. What are the basics of life that we all have to manage? That there is no way out of them. We all have to eat. We all have to live somewhere. We all communicate with other people. We all have a body that we need to nurture. We all have a mind that we need to nurture. And we are all in the journey of healing, of becoming more aware of who we truly are, releasing all patterns, releasing stories that no longer serve us. And we are always on this ongoing journey of transformation. And as you go through that journey, you are going to encounter frustrations. And this is why it's so important to bring awareness and then to decide what alignment means to you in every moment of your life. And then to take action that is exciting, to take action that is inspiring for you in that specific moment. So yeah, I would like to talk about all those things. Hi from Manitoba, Janelle. Greetings from Western Massachusetts. And BD is asking me, have you been in Salt Spring Island? Yes, BD, we did a one-day visit. Salt Spring Island is a little island here in the close to Vancouver Island, and we did do a one-day trip, and it was really nice. Yeah. Hi, Aiste from the UK, and hi, Mika. Angie, welcome. Yeah, so today I am living this change myself right now, and it's so important to remind ourselves to go back to these things because they are relevant and they change and evolve as you change and evolve. And for us, after being house sitting for the last months, we have been in a total of 12 different homes. So as you can imagine, a lot of change, a lot of routines that are different, a lot of different local things that we can do, lots of different animals that we were taking care of, and different energies that we were stepping into on every home. So I am really truly living this change week after week, and I can relate to how important it is to really remind myself of really taking action that is inspired and really taking action that helps me create a thriving lifestyle where I am, understanding that that is temporary too, and really letting go of the idea of control as much as I would like to control. And what's present for me, and I am sure this is also true for you, is that there are kind of, I observe in myself in this change, in this season of my life where change is kind of the norm for me. And there is a lot of uncertainty. Moving forward, Samantha and I, we have done an exercise together of answering a bunch of questions. And this was inspired by a follower, a friend, Patrick from Spain, that she helped me kind of go through that. And it was interesting to do that kind of life design. Where do I want to live? What do I want to do for work? What kind of environment do I want to create? How do I want my routines around meal planning, about physical space, about parenting Eva, our daughter, about being involved in the community where we are in, what kind of living arrangement do we want to have. So all these things are, I notice in myself a part of me that wants to control. It's a part of me that is afraid, scared, and a part of me that is normally centered on the worst case scenario. And then that is one extreme that I observe that comes online many times, and it's trying to do what it knows. It's trying to control by I need to have everything figured out. I need to have safety. Everything has to be known, otherwise I don't feel safe. And that is a part of me, okay? And then there is this part of me that knows that I don't need to know everything. And if you guys have been here for the past months and you have come to any of my sessions on quantum living, you are aware of the energetic aspect, right? And how this quantum perspective, how there are infinite amounts of possibilities. Present, past, and future are illusions. Time doesn't exist really. And we can tap into any energetic blueprint that we want in the present moment. So I just want you to understand that I'm sure that you see yourself on extremes in your life. When you can become the observer and when you can really step back from your life and you can really observe what's happening, you can notice parts of you that are coming online, parts of you that are trying to do what they need to be doing. And for me, I need to find that balance. I really want to be in the middle. It's like a dance. I want to hear the part of me that is afraid and wants to take action and wants to control. And I understand where that's coming from. And I also want to invite the part of me that knows everything's going to be all right. You don't have to freak out. You don't need to know everything. Just take the next available step and it shows up and you are fine. And then finding that center, finding that kind of like middle route, that is the job, right? That is the journey for me, and I'm sure for all of you. And as you go down that journey, you are going to encounter frustrations, you are going to encounter things that you feel inspired to change, to tweak. You are going to use contrast. I talk about the concept of contrast. Basically, when something is happening that you don't like, that you don't prefer, that is not serving you, that is not fulfilling you, that is an indication for you to learn what is it that you want instead. And using that contrast to really become aware of what will feel better here, or what kind of change do I want to initiate here. And when I say here, this can apply to any area of your life. And there are so many basics of life that all of you have to do. So you have to eat. So for example, meal planning, understanding how do you want to arrange your meal planning. Do you do it in a family setting or are you alone? Are you on top of it? Do you feel inspired? Are you eating well? So that's an area that, for example, for me is very present, and being with my family, with my partner, with my daughter, lots of frustration sometimes arise, and we are constantly tweaking, constantly communicating, and constantly designing something that feels better for us, a different structure. So this is just one example. Your physical environment where you live, that's another example, right? Decluttering, organizing, living in a surrounding physically that makes you feel well, that you can thrive in. And this is going to look different for each of you. But sometimes frustrations arise when your physical space is not what you want it to be. And again, in any of these scenarios, you may notice a part of you that is very extreme, that wants to have everything to the T, a specific way, and it feels kind of like very limiting. And then a part of you that is way more flowing, and then it's just finding that middle way of, okay, what do I need right now? What parts of me are being activated right now? And what does alignment mean for me right now? And then you apply this to any of these areas of life. Can be meal planning, can be decluttering and organizing your physical space, can be communication, communicating better with your partner, with people you live with your coworkers. It can be about designing a paper system so that you can be on track of your papers, you can do taxes on time, and that doesn't become a stressful event. It can be same with finances, right? Having a physical system that you understand, maybe getting aligned with the people that you live with, that you are involved in finances with. My partner and I, like, we really sometimes have very heated conversations about finances because we have different stories, we have different belief systems. And I myself, I recognize that a part of me attaches my worth to my finances, attaches my worth, my self-worth with the job that I do, my self-worth with what I do throughout the day. And as you can imagine, when I notice that, I understand that I don't want that moving forward. So I have to become aware of that. I have to heal those things. And every interaction that seems frustrating and difficult with my partner, for example, about finances, it's an opportunity for me to keep learning. So same can happen with executive functioning skills, right? Understanding how you operate, understanding how your brain works, understanding when you procrastinate and why you do it from a place of gentleness, not from a place of being mean to yourself or to the people that you live with. So yeah, many different entry points and many different opportunities for you to keep creating a thriving lifestyle that feels good for you. And now I'm gonna see what you guys are saying. Catherine, it's been a while. Thank you for coming. This sounds so familiar. Thank you, Aiste. Thank you for inspiring me to declutter. I have packed 4 boxes from my kitchen and I am not missing a single thing. There is still a lot to do. Good job, Aiste. Thank you for sharing your progress. That's amazing. P says, I so resonate with this topic. I definitely need to declutter and get organized, but I also experience overwhelm with all the tasks I need to do. Yeah, I experience freeze response when I get overwhelmed, and I have found myself getting stuck, not taking action. Yeah, peace. This is very familiar. And this is why some of the resources that I created, they were intended to help with this, especially when you're getting stuck. For those of you who maybe just watching a video or listening to a piece of content is not enough and you need to do a writing exercise, or you want to follow the content in a written form, you want to read it, maybe you want to print something and put it on the fridge. So things like that, it's very important to really connect with this kind of learning. So for any of you, if you go to my Insight Timer profile and you click in there, or if you just type yourthrivinglifestyle.info, that is the link where you are going to find all of these resources that I am going to be talking about. Okay, these are available for any of you. And for example, if we talk about decluttering, because Peace is bringing the topic, I have 2 courses about decluttering. One course was co-created with my partner Samantha. She's also a teacher on Insight Timer. She does yin yoga, and she also has she actually has a yin yoga session today after this live at 3:30 my time. But basically, we created a course called How to Declutter and Organize Any Space. That one is a video course that will help you declutter and organize your home, your office. It's designed to help you declutter and organize any space. And that course was created after us doing a lot of in-home sessions with real people. So we did learn the system, we perfected the system, and we are very familiar with other organizers in the arena, like the Marie Kondo method, Julie Morgenstern. There are so many different methods that are available, and we have tested them all with real people in our communities. And then that method came after us helping hundreds of people in their homes. We did over 350 in-home sessions for the last 10 years. So as you can imagine, when you repeat something so many times, you discover what works and what doesn't. And when it comes to decluttering, there are so many different exercises, mindsets, but there is a very specific step by step that if you follow it, it just works. And one of the main steps before you get started is the emotional. It's getting clear about the intention behind decluttering. And many times the overwhelm comes when you are feeling unclear. And many times the overwhelm comes because when you are trying to declutter, you are not just doing a physical task. You are connecting with parts of you that are attached to stories, to wounds, to past traumas. And many times you are going to encounter a connection with those emotional blockages, with those emotional things that happen to you that they need resolution. They need to be expressed, they need to be reframed. And there is a lot of healing that can happen just from the act of physical decluttering. So it's not just a physical task, it's very connected with emotion and with mental and with communication, especially in family settings. Being able to communicate is so important because each of us is a unique human being. Each of us is going through our own unique journey. And when we are together with someone in a family setting or just co-living with someone, we are going to have encounters where we are not going to agree. We are going to have a different way of addressing things, a different style of organizing things. And it's a very beautiful opportunity to heal. And many people don't connect those two things. The physical decluttering is like, what does physical decluttering has to do with mental and emotional health? I can tell you a lot. And I can tell you that you may open the door to a lot of things that will be uncomfortable. And the second program that I created, it's called Creating Your Peaceful and Clutter-Free Home. That one is an audio course, and that one was created diving deeper into these emotional and mental kind of layers. And this one covers every space of the house that I could think of. So it's a 30-day course. Every session is very short, but it helps you connect with these emotional reasons. It will help you overcome overwhelm, overcome all the things that you may be feeling through the process. Okay. Let me see. Angie says, when you find a way of living that you are happy with, but no one else approves, how do you still stay connected to others without communication getting heated? I live alone and please myself what I do. I have recently decided I want to retire, but it means I won't have much money. My closest friends disagrees. My family don't approve of how I live. I feel unsupported and it's making me stressed. And that's something I really suffer from. So Angie, this is a very clear example of how, communication is so important. And I think we are all in the journey of becoming more of our true selves. And as you can imagine, becoming your true self involves creating a setting and an environment that supports that. And when you are living with someone else, what needs to happen there? So a lot of communication needs to happen. A lot of clarity and honesty needs to happen. And when you are communicating from a place of honesty, without compromising what you truly want, that's when you can then, from each truth, you can find if you are compatible. Because sometimes you are just not compatible. And sometimes you are. And you can find a way that feels good for both of you or for the people who are sharing the agreement. But this is when finding a way to communicate is so important. And another course that we co-created, my partner and I, Samantha and I, is a course called Imago Dialogue, Healing Through Connection. And that is the structure that we have used to communicate with each other for the last 4 years almost now, since COVID. And I can tell you that many times it's very difficult to get across, because when you are trying to communicate something that gets heated, as you mentioned, something gets heated, that means that one person, or maybe both people in that interaction, they are becoming emotionally agitated. Okay, so whatever is being said, one of the people maybe feels attacked or blamed or unseen or unvalidated or not accepted, and then your nervous system is going to react. And then there is a lot of self-regulation that needs to happen in that moment so that you can remain present in that interaction. And many times things blow up, and sometimes it is needed for them to blow up, because when things are blowing up, when your nervous system is collapsing, it doesn't have to be something negative. Sometimes you just hit an edge. Sometimes you are just getting to a point where you are changing so much that your nervous system cannot keep up. And this is where a lot of healing needs to happen. This is where self-care needs to happen. This is where having support, someone holding space for you, can be very beneficial, because you are pushing through a limitation that you had, and you are teaching your nervous system that there is different ways of approaching this. Sometimes what safety means to you, it's being challenged, and you need to realign with what it means to be safe. And there are so many other things that can arise that can make communication very challenging. So this is why it's important to find a way to communicate that is safe. And this is why Samantha and I felt inspired to create that course that guides you through a structure that you can follow. But basically, people who taught us that, they call it the yoga of communication. As you can imagine, when you go to do yoga, you start making poses, and many times you cannot make the pose. You are limited, you are not as flexible, but the more you do it, the better you become. And it's the same with communication. Sometimes you don't know how to communicate clearly. Sometimes your nervous system is going to act up, and you need to self-soothe yourself, and you need to take space. You need to do whatever is needed for you to regulate. And sometimes communication may get interrupted because of these things. But all these things are opportunities. So we can look at them as failures. We can look at them as situations to avoid, or we can really look at them from the lens of, wow, there is something here for me to learn. Oh, wow, there is something here for me to learn to act differently. There is something here that is not really what I truly want. There is a way for me to communicate maybe differently, maybe to get my point across on a different way, or maybe to be able to listen to what the other person has to say without taking it personally. So there are so many opportunities here, but I understand that it's so difficult sometimes to be there. It's so difficult sometimes to hold space when you are not feeling well. And this is why sometimes communicating differently, choosing a different way of communication can be helpful until you can do it in person. Sometimes writing a letter, sometimes communicating through email, through WhatsApp, through audio recordings, video recordings. I don't know, you can test different approaches. Sometimes asking for permission, sometimes creating a container of time that has a timer and maybe has mediation, someone else there helping you facilitate the process. There are so many different ways of doing it, and so many different things to try. But yeah, it's one area that is very communication, right? It's very relevant to anything that you may do in your life, especially when you are sharing with someone else. It's going to require communication. And doing things with someone else, especially with your romantic partner, when you encounter friction, when you encounter resistance, when you encounter situations that are not pleasant, majority of the times they are invitations to step up. They are invitations to really learn more about yourself and what you want and need, and learn more about how can I communicate differently here. So let me see. I feel your struggles, Angie. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys for all the support. Yeah. So if you go to that link that I shared to your thrivinglifestyle.info, you will find, for example, a course that is called Imago Dialogue. That course is also available on Insight Timer if you have the Members Plus. And then what is available for free or by donation is the resource that you can follow along. So if you go to the shop, there are lots of different resources, and I have created resources for each of the courses and programs that I have created and co-created with Samantha. And for the Imago Dialogue, for example, you will find a PDF that you can download, and then you can use that to try and do that with your partner. And you can also use that structure with someone else. And sometimes you don't have to tell anyone what you are doing, but sometimes you are going to change how you communicate, in the sense that Imago Dialogue talks about the importance of self-regulation, the importance of taking full responsibility of how you feel and what you bring to the interaction. It talks about safety, the idea of safety, the idea of having a safe word, that if that word is mentioned, the communication pauses, stops, and then everyone respects that. And also, it talks about validation, active listening, empathy, and then gratitude. So you can do all of those things with anyone, and they don't even have to know what you are doing. You can change the way you communicate by using those strategies. Active listening, looking, maintaining eye contact, repeating what they are saying, empathizing with them and with their reality. This doesn't mean that you have to agree with it, but you can say something like, wow, I can imagine how when that happened, or when I said this, I can imagine how you felt X, Y, and Z, because that's their reality in that specific moment. So if someone can do that for you, you will feel a lot of relaxation in your nervous system. So if you can do that for another person, they are going to feel the same. So this is one example of you using that resource, and you can print it that, and you can put it on the fridge, or you can put it in a place, or you can actually use it. If you are trying to do a dialogue with your partner, for example, you can print that, and then you can try and use that structure. And I know at the beginning it feels kind of like, oh, this is clunky, or this is I don't want to be reading when I am communicating. But honestly, if what you are doing doesn't work, why would you be close to trying something different? And you can try the nonviolent communication. You can try any other different approach that you are excited about, and that you feel that you can find value, right? So Veronique says, can you put those in the chat? So I can put, let me see. So this is the link that you can find on my Insight Timer profile, okay? But so if you just click in there, you will find all of these resources, as I mentioned. Another one that I would like to check is, for example, executive functioning skills. So no matter what area of your life you are trying to improve, you are trying to become more aware of, no matter which one, communication, decluttering and organizing your space, overcoming your procrastination, designing your life in a way that feels good for you. We have a program called Lifestyle Design, and we have another one about minimalism and creating your minimalist lifestyle. Even if you are trying to do your papers or your finances, so any of those, you are always going to use your executive functioning skills. Always. No matter, even if you are unconscious, even if you don't know what I'm talking about, you are using them. You are using task initiation, task completion, You are transitioning from task to task. You are using your metacognition. This is your ability to reflect, your ability to become the observer of a situation. You are using your impulse control. You are using your emotional self regulation, your working memory, your time management, your prioritizing, your sequencing. Your sequencing, for example, is your ability to organize, take a project or a big task and break it down into different steps and sequence those steps in a way that makes sense and in a way that will help you achieve that task. So executive functioning skills, there are probably over 12 of them. So as you can imagine, if you are new to them, like I was, I didn't remember all of them. So I wasn't really aware of all of them, and I couldn't reflect about how I was using them. So I created two resources. One resource is you following the full course, and the full course is in written method so that you can follow every day, you can read it, and you have a recap. And another one is it's a printable thing that is very short. It just has the skills, like what the skill name is and a little description, and that's it. And that's the one that you can print and you can put on your fridge, and every day you can look at it and then become familiar. And then you are going to use that to reflect. In my case, for example, sometimes I look at a situation in my life, maybe I find myself that I'm procrastinating something, and I may sit in meditation with that specific question, like, why am I procrastinating this task? And I may sit there and I may close my eyes and I will start just allowing information to come to me. But I have an intention. Sometimes I may look at, wow, the other day when I was coming from doing my work and I was stepping into family time with Eva, I noticed overwhelm in my body. I noticed that I became impatient very quickly. And I noticed that I had a really abrupt reaction to my daughter. So I may have that specific moment, and I will take that to my meditation. And when I say meditation, you can do it. So it doesn't have to be sitting down, cross-legged in silence, okay? You can go for a walk, and then you are going to bring that moment. Wow, what happened there? Wow, why did I react that way? Why did I become so impatient? Why? And then I will look at that shit and I will look at transitioning. It's like, oh, so I went from being focused on my work in my own zone with no distractions to stepping into an environment with child energy, chaos, toys, noise, and of course my nervous system was in shock because I didn't allow myself enough time to transition. So this is one very specific example of how looking at the skills and looking at them and finding the one that you were using in that moment, and then I'm gonna step back in that meditation and I'm gonna start visualizing myself stepping into that moment again and really brainstorming ideas. How can I do it differently? What will feel better? Okay, so instead of transitioning like this, maybe I stand up after doing my work, I take a few deep breaths, and then I remind myself, okay, Emilio, now you are going to step back into being a father. You are going to step back into noise. And then what is the intention? Why are you going there? What are you going to be doing? And then I allow myself to transition. Maybe I move my body. Maybe I do a checklist of a few activities that I would like to do with my daughter. Maybe I just tell to myself, oh yeah, I would like to do a painting. I would like to play hide and seek, and I would like to make a tea for me and for her. I don't know. So as you can imagine, you can do this with any of the skills, with transitioning, with task initiation, with task completion, with metacognition, with any of these skills. So this is another beautiful resource that you have available now that you can download and use. Okay. So are there any questions, guys? Kelly says, I find a 5-minute lay down. Yeah, so Kelly, so sometimes finding something somatic can be very helpful, right? Sometimes movement, sometimes laying down, sometimes taking a few deep breaths, sometimes listening to a song. There are so many different ways of allowing yourself to transition in a way that feels good for you. So, are there any questions so far before I keep going? Anything that you guys want to share or ask? Just don't be shy. Something that you will also find is a gallery. I create a gallery with some pictures, and I have a lot of before and after pictures of physical spaces that we declutter and organize, so you can see the before and the after. You can see lots of different exercises that I talk a lot about, like a brain dump, like creating your own self-care list, like creating your ideal week, um, habit tracking, tracking your time analog in your journal in a way that you can see where your time went and what you did. All of these activities and kind of exercises are to help you get inspired. And sometimes when you are in the middle of a chaotic transition, it may help you gain clarity about what is it that you want moving forward, and what area of your life maybe feels the one that you want to invest some time in. So that's something that you have in there that can be very, very helpful too. So let me read some of your comments. Thank you, Mika. Yes, I started a self-love practice a couple of years ago. It slipped recently. Need to get back to it. And yes, hibernation has been a thing for me too. Yeah, and sometimes, thank you for sharing that, Angie. Like hibernation sometimes is important. And hibernation doesn't have to happen only in the winter time. Sometimes maybe you live in a place that winter doesn't exist. But hibernation means when you just need time with yourself. And sometimes you are not in the mode of acquiring content or taking a lot of action. Sometimes you are in a mode of just retrieving, being with yourself, doing not much, really. And sometimes allowing yourself to just do that, to do the bare minimum, can be, it's like a pregnancy, right? Maybe there is something that is going to be born, something new in your life. And the same way that pregnancy happens over 9 months and then a new baby is born, you can take that concept and maybe new ideas, maybe new stages of life. Maybe you are transitioning from maybe being a full-time parent into now you are an empty nester. And there is a huge change, right? And now who am I? What identity do I have now? Or maybe you are transitioning from working full-time into retirement. And now there is a lot of unknown. What am I going to be doing with all this time? Or how can I feel myself fulfilled doing something that I like? Or so there is a lot of change. And sometimes being in that, I don't know, in that I don't feel like doing much, it's actually very positive and it's needed. So sometimes it's important to honor that, and you don't have to always be doing a lot. And this is what I tell some of my students, right? Sometimes it's like, please don't don't kill yourself always doing something, because sometimes what you need is to do nothing and to be okay with it. So I says, what if you want to invest in so many areas? I mean, in terms of decluttering and also making changes in life. Yeah. So then that you become completely overwhelmed and then you freeze and then you stop doing it. No. So this is a clear example. I love your question because there is not a right or wrong approach to this. And this has to do a lot with what I was just sharing, right? Sometimes you feel like you have a lot of energy and you feel that you can take on a lot of things. And sometimes you feel like you are, wow, very depleted and you don't have a lot to give. So you have to gauge and you have to really check in with yourself about what is it that I want to change? What do I have energy for? How can I sequence this in a way that feels good for me, in a way that this honors my energy levels and how much time I have to give to this? But many times I can tell you one thing. When I ask people, what do you want to do? They say, I want to declutter my home. If you start with that, you're going to feel overwhelmed right away because decluttering your home is a very big task. And as you can imagine, initiating that task is going to be overwhelming. And you are going to face resistance because let me ask you, where do you start? I want to declutter my home, okay? Where do you start? It's a very big task. So let's just narrow it down into something more concrete. And this is why I have the course called Lifestyle Design. And we brought a book about it called A Recipe for an Extraordinary Life. And you can find the book in the shop, and you can find the course that is the companion to the course, to the book. And in that course, we step back and then we kind of look at lifestyle design in the sense that we look at the different areas of life and we try to get aligned with what is the most important here. What are the bare minimum that we need to do to function? But then when it comes to feeling excited, what is that excitement right now? Because sometimes you may be trying to declutter your home, a specific room, but maybe that's not the right approach for you. That's not the right step for you. Because as you try to get started, there is something that is blocking you from doing that task. And maybe there is an emotional reason that you need to kind of heal first before you can go into doing the actual physical work. So the decluttering sparked an invitation for you to look at something deeper, emotionally speaking. And when you can process that and realign with that and transform that, you're going to look at that space again with fresh eyes. And you're going to be able to then have a more clear intention, reason of why you are going to declutter that space. This is one example, okay? But there is not a right or wrong approach, and the invitation is for you to check in with yourself about what are the different options that are in front of you and which one feels, the one that you feel is the one that is calling the most of your attention, the one that is exciting you the most, the one that you sense that by you taking that step is going to create a ripple effect. And you don't need to know more. It's just a sensation, right? Sometimes following that can be the sparking moment, right? That help you start gaining momentum. And many times it's very illogical in the sense that many times you don't have a blueprint in your head of everything that's going to happen and the end goal. Sometimes this is more flowing than you can imagine. Sometimes you don't have all the answers yet, but you do have a clear next step. And I guess my invitation for you is to take that step, explore it, take action to the best of your ability, and then recoup and sense, is it flowing or is it not? Do you feel stuck or do you feel like a new step appeared once you took that one? And this is that dance that you are kind of taking, but you don't know what's going to unfold. But you are willing to step into that uncertainty, and you are willing to do your best, and you are willing to stop when it doesn't feel aligned. Let's put it that way. And when it doesn't feel aligned, you are going to sense if you are avoiding something that needs to be looked at, or if you are truly not excited and that's not a good fit for you. And there is a very fine line there too, because sometimes we are avoiding doing something that we need to do because it's painful, because the truth sometimes hurts. But sometimes you know that that's not the case. And then when that happens, you are going to allow yourself to say, you know what? No, I'm not going to declare this room now because it's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So what should I be doing instead? What do I want to be doing instead? Try not to use should, must, I have. Try to really check in with yourself about excitement, about alignment, about inspired action. I hope that this is helpful. I know that sometimes it's not very logical, but that is the truth that I have witnessed after doing many, many decluttering sessions. Um, so I have been living doing the bare minimum. It doesn't go down well with others. Yeah, Angie, again, sometimes if you are sharing the space or if there are expectations from other people on you, sometimes communication needs to flow more um, clearly, because sometimes maybe some people are expecting you to do something, or maybe sometimes we are not honest and we are not clear enough about what we are doing and about what we are not doing. And when we are not clear enough, maybe we are miscommunicated. I do this a lot. My partner sometimes gets very upset with me. And when I reflect about it, I realize, wow, I was not clear. I wasn't really honoring my truth because part of me felt that I didn't deserve it, or I was being selfish, or I was afraid of being fully honest because I was trying to people please her. But she doesn't want to be people pleased. She wants to hear my truth. So it is my job to connect with my truth, and it is my work to try and bring that truth as clearly as possible. Because once I share my truth and I can communicate it clearly, there is no misunderstanding anymore. And I can say yes or no with intention. I don't know if that helps, but sometimes things are more blurry, and it makes sense that sometimes they are more difficult to navigate. Um, that's very helpful, Emilio. Thank you. I will meditate, reflect on this. I was definitely blocked as I thought I needed to clear my wardrobe. Yeah, and maybe you can, uh, but sometimes maybe there is an emotional attachment to clothes that you didn't know about, and maybe there is a story about, I don't know, about clothes that you are not aware of. And this is why sometimes when you are decluttering, sometimes there are categories that are more difficult than others. Sometimes, for example, decluttering books, for some people that is very difficult and challenging. For other people, it's very easy. Clothes, the same idea. Some people have no problem letting go of clothes, decluttering their clothes, and some other people, they have a really hard time going through clothes. Same with kitchenware, same with papers, same with tools. So be gentle with yourself, and keep discovering um, what that is for you. And another thing that is available too is support. Okay, if you go to the link that I send you, you will see inside the shop. You will see that there are different tabs. So there is book, there is a tab for courses, and there are services. Okay, so if you click under services, you can find different ways of working with me one-on-one. Some ways are having a video call. Some ways is having a WhatsApp container where I keep you accountable, where I support you through the process. And sometimes I combine this with courses and programs that I have so that you can do it at your own pace, and then you can have a connection with me. So we can create something that feels appealing for you and something that is supportive. And the same way that you can do that with me, maybe you have another person in your life, another teacher or a good friend or someone else that you feel inspired to ask for help. So don't block help to come your way, because sometimes help is going to come to you in ways that maybe you were not expecting. But it's really important and necessary sometimes for someone else to hold space for you to be able to communicate what's happening for you and be seen in that experience. And hopefully you can do that through different channels. Okay? That will be news to me. I thought I wasn't attached to clothes, although I do have them for a very long time. Yeah, so this is an opportunity for you, instead to really become curious. Like, what is the story that I'm telling myself about these clothes? Is the story that I'm not decluttering my closet because I spend a lot of money on them? Is the story that maybe I fluctuate weight a lot and then I am just in case, because if I change weight, all this is this size and this is all this size and I don't want to waste. Again, there are so many different approaches to this. And if you are curious about specifically clothes and the wardrobe, I did do a live years ago that is, I think it was called Finding Your Wardrobe Flow. So if you type that on Inside Timer, I'm sure you will find the live, and it's a recording that you can listen to on Inside Timer for free. And I talk about clothes. I talk about designing your wardrobe. I talk about very specific ways that you can think about to decide how many clothes you want to have, and then how to go about it. And different approaches from the Marie Kondo method, from my own method, from different approaches, so that you can sense which one feels the most exciting for you, so that you can take action. But maybe that is not the category for you to get started with, because when you feel stuck, I always recommend get started somewhere else and then come back to clothes later, because the decision making and the decluttering is like a muscle that we are going to use, right? We are making decisions and keeping this, I'm letting this go, and keeping this. The more you use that muscle, the easier it's gonna be for you to make decisions, especially for categories that are more difficult. Okay, I can tell you how many times I have started a session with a client and we started with books, for example, and we sense like, wow, it's taking a really long time to decide about just one book. So I will tell the client, me or my partner, okay, let's put the books aside, okay, and let's keep going with clothes. And I will do the same. Clothes, it's flowing well, let's keep going. It's not flowing well, okay, let's put clothes aside and let's get started with tools. And then I will sense very quickly the entry point. And then I will get started there and we will complete a section or a category. And then the client will see, first, they will see a change. Second, they will foster a lot of motivation and a lot of more clarity. And they will feel better with themselves. They will feel that they are trusting themselves more. They're going to be more confident. And then we will go, after an hour or two into the session, we will go back to the category that they were struggling with, and it will be different. They will have an easier time making decisions. So don't forget that you can get started somewhere else if where you are trying to get started is difficult for you. Okay? Yeah. So another resource, some of the resources that I'm really excited about that you may check is 12 questions to ask when you are trying to let go of an emotional item. So these are a set of 12 questions to help you let go of things that are difficult for you to let go of. And they are very eye-opening. And this is something that is a printable, it's a one page, and you can just put it somewhere. And when you are doing the decluttering process, you can ask yourself those questions, or you can have someone else ask you those questions. I have a worksheet that is called Am I a Clutterer? And this was created by an association in the US that is called Clutterers Anonymous. And basically, it's a set of 25 questions to help you become aware if you are cluttering things that you don't need. And then that's going to spark, hopefully, awareness about the reasons why you are doing that. And all these tools are tools meant to help you become aware, be curious. They are not designed to criticize you or anything like that, okay? Another one is Rate Your Clutter. This is an image rating clutter scale. So basically, you're going to be looking at a picture with 12 different scenarios. There is a living room, there is a kitchen, and there is a bedroom. And 0 will be the room is just with the basics. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 9. 9. And 9 will be the room packed to the ceiling. So you can look at your space and you can look at that kind of image rating scale, and you can see where you fall into. And again, there is explanations of what can you do next, why are you there, and hopefully that will help you understand more of why do you have this physical clutter, because there is always a reason of why. And the last one I'm gonna mention before I complete this, there is another one that is called the Life Change Index Scale. It's also called the stress test. And this one is a really good one to understand how much change is happening in your life currently. And you will be guided through a set of questions. But I promise you that you're going to be surprised because, for example, going on vacation, it's a life event that can have an impact in how you feel emotionally, because that's a big change, right? Um, Moving homes, moving jobs, having a family member passed away. There are so many different things that when you read those questions, and if any of these things have had happened in the last 2 years, you are still probably impacted. So this is a really good exercise for you to become aware of why you may be feeling what you are feeling. And if I were to do this exercise now, I can tell you that my stress test will be through the roof, because I don't have a permanent home. I don't have a permanent job. I don't know where I'm going to be living. My partner and I, we are in a situation that we are contemplating, are we going to stay together or should we separate? So we are really discovering who we truly are as people, and we are willing to do what honors that best. So there is a lot of uncertainty, and as I look at this, I realize, wow, this is why I feel so energetically drained sometimes. This is why I feel so unsafe sometimes. This is why I react the way I react sometimes, because all these things are happening. So just for you to become aware, all of these resources are available in that site, and you can buy them or get them for free. And the website is really nicely designed so that everything is accessible, and there is no barrier for any of you to get any of this. Okay? Thank you so much, Angie, for your beautiful donation. I really appreciate your support. And this is everything I have for you guys today. We are almost at 1 hour, so I want to be mindful of your time. I'm really, really grateful to have you here. If you found this session helpful, you can always donate. And you can always go to my new site, explore everything that I have created. And if there is anything for you that you resonate with, feel free to get it. And you can follow me there too if you want to be updated of new courses and new stuff. And if you have the Members Plus on Insight Timer, you can access majority of my courses there too. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much, guys, for your presence. Thank you so much for you wanting to improve your life, because when you want to do that, I know that everyone around you is going to benefit from that. And I want everybody to feel better, everybody to keep doing what they need to be doing, what they want to be doing, so that we can all honor ourselves more and more, and we can learn how to communicate that with each other better. Okay? So thank you, guys. If you have any other questions, feel free to share before I go. And if not, I hope that you guys enjoy your weekend. And if you have suggestions of any topics moving forward, I'm going to stay here for a few more minutes. I don't know what else to do in my live sessions. I don't have specific ideas yet, but I'm open to listening or hearing what you would like to see from me. So feel free to share in the chat. So Rachel says, please repeat the website name. It's yourthrivinglifestyle.info. Okay? yourthrivinglifestyle.info. And you can find it if you go to my Insight Timer bio. You can find the website in there. If you have the app, just go to the About tab and you will find the link in there. Okay? But if you type Your Thriving Lifestyle, that is the name of my podcast, that you can listen to all the episodes there. That is the name of the website, and that is the name also of Insight Timer Circle. It's called Your Thriving Lifestyle. Okay, you can also join that group if you want. Thank you, Peta, for writing that down. Is there anything else that you guys would like to see from me moving forward in these live sessions? Just all ears. Because part of me feels like I just want to take a break and don't do anything else for the next few weeks or few months until I figure out where I'm going to be living, what I'm going to be doing. And then part of me feels like, no, Emilio, you want to show up every week and keep doing this. So I'm just curious to know what you guys need. What you guys want. What will be exciting for you. Yeah, Lori says joy, finding joy even in challenging times, in facing challenges. Yeah, that is a big journey for me. How to find the joy, how to remain present, how to trust and surrender to this process of uncertainty, right? As things change and unfold, how to remain just open to opportunities. Don't go to the, oh my God, I don't have things figured out. It's going to be bad. Why? Maybe it's beautiful, right? Maybe it's really nice. Take care of you first, Emilio. If something comes to you, you can surprise us. Amazing, Angie. That's a good approach. Okay. Amazing, guys. So have a wonderful weekend, and I will meditate on this. Okay? Adios.